I think if we've learned anything from this press conference, this isn't about getting favorable press. And it's not about the federal government trying to pat itself on the back. We've made significant investments, yeah. We've made them in now essentially two budgetary cycles. But this is a process of reckoning and giving Canadians a snapshot of what we need to do as a country to be better and move forward in a way that we haven't done as the past.
Nearly 1 year since the discovery of unmarked graves at the site of the former Kamloops Indian Residential School, the federal government highlighting money already allocated to support Indigenous communities. Crown Indigenous Relations Minister Mark Miller bristling at the idea that his government is taking the chance to try and look good.
If anyone thought that we were going to stand here today and look for good press, you've totally missed the point, and if that's on me, it's on me. But the point is this. We're working as a government, we're working as the federal government in the imperfect way that we work, to work with Indigenous communities, a number of which are reeling, to get money, support, and funding out into communities for them to help lift up the truth, frankly, because that's a truth that we as a government have denied those communities, and we've been complicit in it.
Miller was joined by Indigenous Services Minister Patty Hajdu and Justice Minister David LAMETTI, who gave an update on funding promised to communities who have discovered remains at former residential schools or need money to search. The Fed saying over $500 million has been allocated to implementing Truth and Reconciliation Commission calls to actions on residential schools. That includes funding searches, memorial sites, digitization of school records, and funding for communities to deal with schools still standing.
Some communities would like to see them gone, and on the sites where they once stood, restored. Other communities continue to use the buildings and would like to help renew and renovate them. To address the colonial legacy of these buildings, Canada has committed more than $100 million to support community plans for building demolition, land remediation, and construction or renovations.
But there's work unfinished. The position of special interlocutor, a person who will work with affected communities and bring recommendations to the government, remains unfilled 9 months after being announced.
Sometimes things take time. As I said in my remarks, both the mandate and the potential candidates have been the subject of active back and forth between between me and my office and Indigenous leadership, including communities, as well as the national organizations.
Veldon Coburn, an Indigenous Studies professor at University of Ottawa, says there's a large pool of potential candidates, so he's not totally sure what the holdup is.
There are parents right now and grandparents, siblings that are getting up on age because they went to these Indian residential schools decades ago when they were children. So they may be up, in their 60s, 70s, perhaps even 80s right now, that kind of want some answers at this moment.
In Ottawa, Xiaoli Li, City News.